welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're going to be taking a look at the puzzle on the screen today. It's called Fondue, and it's by Florian Wortman, and this has been recommended to me by none other than Totally Normal Cat, a name that strikes fear into the heart of Sudoku solvers everywhere because of their incredible and difficult Sudoku puzzles. But Totally Normal Cat is a brilliant judge of a Sudoku as well, so when they recommended this one to me, I am fully prepared to take them on trust and just jump straight into it. It's rather beautiful, actually. I don't know why it's... Oh, fondue, because these are... these are forks pricking into the... This must be cheese or chocolate in the middle. I can't see any marshmallows on the end, so it's probably a cheese version. I don't know. Anyway, that's quite a good name for it. I was thinking it looked more like some sort of, creation of a singularity, or a pre-black hole type explosion, but minds work in different ways. Now I've got I've got some congratulations to issue and also a thank you to make, because a couple of days ago on the channel I completed this puzzle in a video which was absolutely magnificent. It's called Whispers of a Killer, and it was by My Secret Santa, and I didn't know their name, but I have since found out that this apparently was the creation of Abid Hawila. So Abid, thank you so much. He made me 3 puzzles as a Christmas present. Isn't that kind? And not only that, they were, well, I've tried 2 of them now, one of them on video, and this one was absolutely startlingly good, and I know many of you enjoyed it too. So yeah, big thanks to Abid. That was much appreciated. Now, the other thing I need to do is to say congratulations to those of you who have completed the Star Wars Sudoku hunt that we published on the 1st of January in the last 24 hours. So very well done to Sean Day, to Alaric Taki Arancha, to Patrick Lang, or it could be Langer, I'm not sure, to Andre Beausoleil, to Stephen Brown, to Septicube, and to Logan Nydert. I hope I'm saying all your names properly. I am trying to, but that's some brilliant solving from you all, and the feedback as well has been stunning. So if you have any interest in sort of, well, either Star Wars or Sudoku, or hopefully both, you will enjoy that mightily. It's available right now over on Patreon, and that's all I've got to tell you. So let's get on with Fondue. Here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So those 2 squares, for example, if we put, I don't know, 2 and 3 in there, you'd put 5 in there to make sure that it added up to the right number. And cells connected by a white dot contain consecutive digits. So we've got a few of those dotted around the place. So what that means is if this square is a 9, this square would have to be an 8 to ensure that they are consecutive with one another. Cells connected by a black dot contain digits in a 1:2 ratio. So that just means that one of these digits is double the other one. Not all possible dots are given, so we can't use a negative constraint to say, for example, that these 2 cells are not, one of them is not double the other. We absolutely cannot do that. We're given some black dots and some white dots, but not all the possible ones that could exist in this grid. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I can see 2 things instantly here, which is a change from normal. The first thing I can see is that these are all 2-cell arrows, and therefore I can't possibly put a 9 onto any of these arrows. If I try and put a 9 here, for example, this circle is definitely going to be a double-digit number, and that is a problem. So the only place 9 can go, for I know there is a 9 in the central box, is there. Now the other thing I can see involves a secret, and a secret is something I only tell very special people, but I'm going to tell it to you today, and that is that because of the rules of Sudoku, any complete row, any complete column, or any complete box will contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. Now if you add those digits together, you get 45, and that means we can actually isolate the value of this cell immediately, because if I know the whole box adds to 45, but these 2 cages sum to 41, this must take the balance, and that must be a 4. And I can't see exactly what that means. I mean, it means that's at least a 5, I suppose, which is perhaps not the most important thing in the world. In the 21 cage, we now need 12 more, which can't be 3, 9 or 4, 8. So that's a 5, 7 pair. That's the only other way of getting to 12 without repeating a digit. Double 6 obviously won't work there. Yeah, okay. And now we can make first use of our white dots. The white dottage in the grid is useful. We've got 1, 2, 3, 6 and 8 to put into this string, but 3 of these digits are consecutive. That's what the white dots are telling us. Well, they must be the digits 1, 2 and 3 then. These must be the digits 6 and 8. Now there's got to be a 9 in one of those two cells, which is interesting. I'm actually going to try and pencil mark that somehow. That means this can't be a 9 and this can't be a 9. Let me explain how I know this. Because one of these is an 8, and because we can't have any number greater than a 9 in a Sudoku, in fact that means there's a 1 in one of those two cells as well. So I'm going to try and record that too. It's quite difficult to record things that are across boxes of a Sudoku, but I now know for sure that in this puzzle there is a 1 in at least one of these two positions, and there's a 9 in at least one of those two positions. Now imagine this square here was a 9 now. That would break the puzzle, because now I couldn't put a 9 in any of those, and this, whichever one of these was the 8, would have a big problem. So this square can't be bigger than 4, so that's 1, 2, 3 or 4. This square is 5, 6, 7 or 8. In fact, it's quite even whichever one of these is a 6 is still going to lead to quite a large digit in the purple. Yeah, the orange squares can't be greater than 3. It would be impossible for that to be the case. So these squares have to be 7s, 8s or 9s. Now, okay. Right, the beauty continues here, because now I want to think about the fact that one of those two digits has to be a 7. And given neither of these circles can now be a 9, because we've got a 9 in the middle of the grid, that means one of those two squares must be an 8. Which means that this square cannot be an 8. This is gorgeous, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful. Which means that square can't be a 4 anymore, because that wouldn't mean this was an 8 by the power of mathematics. Oh, hang on. Look, orange is, there's a 1 in one of those two squares, so that can't be a 1. That means this can't be a 5. This digit is under incredible pressure. Right. How can we identify this digit? Or if we can't, how can we... Okay. Yeah, look. One of those two squares has got to be a 1. Because we know, well, at least one of them, I know probably exactly one of them actually, given the positions of the oranges. Because one of those is a 7, and it must add to 8. One of these is a 1, but also one of these is a 1. So the ones can't align. So if this was a 1, that would, well, oh, actually, no, you can't have two 1s now. Sorry, I'm sort of jumping about in my brain here. But because one of these must be a 1, exactly one of oranges must be a 1 now. Which means whichever one of the oranges is 1, it must accompany the 8 to allow the 8 to have an escape route. So there's an 8 in one of these, which pairs up with 9 via a 1. And then let's just imagine it was here. It would go 9, 1, 8. Then this couldn't be a 1. So the 9 and the 8 are sort of at opposite ends of, either It's the strangest sort of flexed X-wing. There's either an 8-9 here or there's an 8-9 here. And the ones are also like that. So the ones either branch across into those two squares or into those two squares. Now, can we use that to know which way round they go? I suppose, actually, just thinking about it, these two digits can't be that big either, because even the one that isn't 7-1 is going to have a 5 on it. Can you have... Oh, I'm getting confused now. You can never have 9 in a blue square, so you've got to have a maximum of 8. Is it possible to have 2 8s in blue? Or can you only have 1? If you had 2 8s, this would be a 1-3 pair. I don't know. Would they be different then? They would be different, and this would have to be a 2. I'm not sure. I can't see why you couldn't have 2 8s here. So, but anyway, what that means is that yellow has to be no bigger than 3. Ah, I see. So now I've got a 1, 2. Oh, look, I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in row 3 and a 1, 2, 3 triple in column 3. So that means 1 in box 3 has to be almost hiding in the corner, along with whatever this isn't. So if this was a 3, there must be a 2 up there, and if this was a 2, there must be a 3 up there. Okay. So, how do we do this? Or do we have to do something down here in order to learn about how this all resolves itself? The answer is I don't know. Oh, I know what I can do. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple. Well, what's the middle digit of that triple? It's a 2. Come on, Simon. I suspect some of you have been merrily typing in your comments about that oversight. But I'm just checking what I'm about to say is true. I think it's true. I don't think that's actually done anything for me. No. So all of you who were saying I could have put a 2 in there, you were quite right. But what does it actually do? It means this has to be at least a 3. I don't think that's very useful. So how... This is very odd, actually. It's very odd, because I don't think... Surely these circles are under just dramatically less tension than these ones are. So I don't see how these ones resolve these ones. It feels much more like we have to resolve these ones and then work down to the sort of southwest of the grid. Right, let's do this again. So if this is 9, we know it goes 9, 1, 8. 9, 1, 8. Then that would be a 1, and that would be an 8. So we'd have 8s in these two positions. This would be a 6. Right. Okay, right, I understand. Wow, that's not straightforward to see that, and I'm not sure if there's a more straightforward way. There could be. But I'll show you what I've noticed. Let's in fact work through it. So if this is a 9, we now know that must pair up with the 8 and the 1 because of the work we did earlier on. Now, the implication of this is that this is a 1-8 pair, because we know that the 7 here needs to accompany a 1 because it cannot lead to a 9 opposite it. So if we try to put the 7 here, what are the options for this digit? Well, there are none. because 7, this can't be a 1, so it has to be at least a 2, but this can't be a 9 because of this square. So what we've got to do now is go 7 here, 1 here, 8 here. But this 8 is rather beautiful because it forces this square not to be an 8. But this is a 6, so what are we going to put in this square now? If we can't make this add up to 8, we can't use 2. So in this 1, 2, 3 triple, the 2 is going to go there, and that's going to be a 6. But I think the really elegant thing about this is it's weirdly symmetrical around this axis. So if instead of this, we did it the totally opposite way, and we said, okay, we're going to make this the 9 rather than this one, because the logic sort of collapses in on itself, you get exactly the same position into this square. Now let's just prove that to ourselves so that everyone is happy with that. You go 9, 1, 8, 6 over here. You've got to go 1, 8 here with a 7. Now this square can't be a 1 or a 2 because of the 8 preventing this from being an 8. So the only place 2 can go is here, and that has to be a 6 still. So let's back this up. Go back to here, I think. Although I seem to have lost some pencil marks now. I don't know quite why I've lost pencil marks. Let's really back it up. Let's back it up all the way to here. Now, I still haven't got no clue which of these is the 9, but I do know that this is always a 2, and therefore that is always a 6. So these squares are now 1s and 3s. I think we can get rid of the 1s in the corners now. I think that's probably as much as we're going to learn from that. So have we now done this somehow? 3 must live up there. Oh no. Sorry, I can't. Oh, hang on. No, that is interesting. Yeah, no, I do see how this works. I do. A bit slow here, but whether this is 1 or 3, because we know the 1 has to accompany the 7. Oh, hang on, do I know that those... Oh, now I'm going crazy. What I'm wondering now is it possible they are the same digit? No, we know they're not the same digit, do we? Because we worked out that there had to be a 1 in one of those squares. And if there was a 1 in both those squares, I couldn't make the 7 work, because you'd have 2 3s in here, and 7 plus 3 is 10. So I know one of these exactly is a 1. And the logic works absolutely symmetrically if we try and say, okay, well, is it possible for both of these squares to be 1s? No, it's not, because then you'd have double 3 here and the 8 won't work. It's very interesting, actually, really clever. So now we know these are different, and therefore the 7 must partner the 1, the 5 must partner a 3 in some order, and they are both 8. And the same thing happens here, look. The 6 must partner the 3 because the 8 needs to partner the 1. So these squares both add up to 9, and we get 9s and 8s. Looking into box 3, which is not helpful. Oh, no, it is. Where does 9 go in the box? You can't put 9 on a dot now because it would have to have an 8 next to it. And because of symmetry, you can't do it. So the 9 must hide in the corner. And therefore, I've got a 1, 3 pair up there. These squares have got to be 4s, 5s, 7s, and 8s. And we can see, actually, that's quite interesting as well. Yeah, so because these are both on white dots, we're going to have a 4, 5 pair in one of these and a 7, 8 pair in the other. Now, and because the 8 is now locked into one of those 2 squares, the 7 must be in one of these 2 squares, so we can take 7 out of those 2 cells. Okay, well that's good. That's good. And now, what should we do next? 9 has to be in one of those 2 positions in box. Yeah, and I think we've got to keep in mind symmetry. So whenever I get anything, I've got to check the sort of the symmetrical counterpart to the logic around this axis, because that seems to be the magical axis in this puzzle. Okay. Where now? I was thinking this was all going to, we were sort of going to work our way down this way. But unless I'm missing something, I can't see how to resolve these digits in the middle at all. In fact, I should have thought about this earlier as well, because symmetry's been sort of shouting at us through the solve. But what breaks the symmetry in this puzzle? What prevents this from having two solutions, one that's just a symmetrical flip of the other? Well, the answer must be these dots. They're the only asymmetrical thing in the puzzle around this axis. So so clearly these two dots are going to have an important role. Okay. Oh, I've got a 1-3 pair. Oh, so I must have a 1-3 pair there. Look, I've got 1-3 pair there, 1-3 pair here. So I'm almost tempted to colour those, actually. Let's do that. Yes, in fact, I am tempted to colour it, because I've just realised I'm going to get these coloured as well. So whatever colour this is, do we still need the colours for the 8s and 9s? The answer is I don't know. I'm going to get rid of them just to try and keep the grid looking fairly pure. So this square must be the same as this square by colouring, and therefore this square must be the same as this square by colouring, and therefore that must be blue and this must be orange. Now that means orange is down here, which means blue's there, of course, because of the symmetry. No? Okay, sorry. I think I've made I've just wasted everyone's 30 seconds. Apologies. I don't think that does much. So is it these arrows then? What's this cell going to be? The answer is I think it's got an awful lot of options. Right, maybe we start with the circles. At least I can rule 8 and 9 out of both of these circles by Sudoku. Now this digit can't be a 1, but it could perhaps be a 2. I'm not sure about that. It could be 2. It couldn't be 1 plus 2 equals 3 because the 1-3 pair will prevent that. But I think, okay, so that's this square here I think has the option of being 4, 5, 6 or 7. So that must be the same, 4, 5, 6 or 7. The problem is that that is an awful lot of latitude. Okay, so maybe we've just got to pencil mark these squares in. So they can't be 1s, 3s. So they've got to be 2s, 4s, 5s or 6s. Oh dear, 2, 4, 5 or 6. Oh, well, this can't be 4, and then therefore presumably that can't be 4, because 4 would have to be a 1-3 pair, and that would lead to 3 cells in the column that had to contain 1 and 3. So we can get rid of 4 from both of those squares. So we're down to 5, 6 or 7 now. It would be very nice to get rid of 6, because that would create a pair in both row 5 and column 5. So why can't that be 6? If that's 6, you can't go double 3. So if you go 6 here, you have to go 1, 5. And 3 plus 7 does not equal 8. Beautiful. Right, this is not a 6. And that's because if it is a 6, because you have to make this a 1-5 pair, look at what it does to this domino. 7 and 3 would be left over, which don't add up to the right number. So this is bobbins in a good way. So that's not 6. That's not 6. Now, does that limit the options for this square now? Yes, that can't. Yes, oh, I see the way it limits it. Because I've got a 5-7 pair, I can just take 5 out of there. And the same must be true here. So now this is even, and this is even. Yeah, and the reason for that is that if we look a bit more carefully about column 5, all of the odd numbers have been used up. I've got a 1-3 pair, a 5-7 pair, and a 9. So the rest of this column is full of the digits 2, 4, and 6. And the same must be true. I don't even have to check it because the symmetry has not been broken to this point. The same must be true in row 5. Okay. So what does that mean? Maybe this arrow is where we have to look next. Yeah, beautiful. Right, yes. Look, we've got blue and orange. We have a 1 and a 3, therefore, looking at this square. So this cannot be a 1 or a 3. Oh, can it be a 2? That's very annoying. It might be able to be a 2, which would make that a 4. And although we're repeating a 2 on the arrow, there's no rule that says you can't do that. So, okay, so that could be 2. Could it be 4? If it's 4, this is 6. Don't see why not. If it's 5, that will be 7. Are these different? If these are different, then we could rule out 7 from here. Let me just think about this. Yeah, they are different, aren't they? Because these must be different. Yeah, this is really beautiful. Okay, so red, yellow, we'll go for those squares. Now that means that must be yellow and that must be red. I don't actually like using red in the same box as orange, so I'm going to change those to purple. So you can see that this is a 5-7 pair looking at this square, so that cannot be 7, and if that cannot be 7, therefore this square cannot be 5. So now what can we do? 6 here, is that possible? So 6 would lead to an 8. Now unfortunately that, well, okay, that might be possible, but that's all we've got. So we have got 2 even digits now and an even circle. Well now my black dot can't be a 2-4 pair because both of those squares would have to be a 6. So my black dot is now 1, 2, which would be lovely for this square, 4, 8, which has to be in a particular order, look. So that can't be 4 yet, and this would have to be the 8. Or 3, 6, which would also have to be in a particular order. So this square is down to 1, 2, or 3. Oh, it's very close to be. Oh, is that a no? No, I thought we might have a quintuple, but we don't because this annoyingly can be an 8. Oh, but do we know? Oh, these are on white. These are white dottages. Look, white dottage here, white dottage here. So those squares, because they're connected to an even, must be odd. 1, 3, 5, 7. It can't be 9 because this can't be 8. 1, 3, 5, 7. I keep wanting to use the 1s and 3s and say these can't be 1s and 3s, but these 1s and 3s, although different, don't see those cells. So this one sees that one, but that one doesn't seem to, and neither does that one, which is a bit annoying. It is true. Oh, hang on. Orange and purple add up to 8. Orange and purple add up to 8, so they're either 7, 1 or 3, 5. Oh, good grief. Right. Wow. Okay, that's come out of nowhere. That is absolutely brilliant. Wow. Florian, take a bow. That is absolutely brilliant. Right. Look at the colouring here. We know that an orange plus a purple adds up to 8. And we know, for that matter, that a yellow plus a blue adds up to 8. So these two squares here are either, very specifically, 5 here, 3 here, the difference would be 2. Or 7 here and 1 here, the difference would be 6. Ergo, this is not a 4. The same, by symmetry, is exactly the same here. But because we know one of these is a 1, 7 and one of them is a 3, 5, the 2 and the 6 are different digits. And this is why it's magical, because look, that is different from that. Both of these squares see that square, so it cannot be a 2 or a 6. That's a 4, which means that's a 6. Oh my goodness me, that is stunning. That is that is stunning. Right, so now those squares have to be a 3, 5, although they could be the same. They don't see each other. Now, what does that mean? Takes 4, 8 out of there, although 4, 8 doesn't seem to be a possibility there. How did I rule 4 out of that? Because I thought about 4, 8. Right, well, it doesn't matter. This can't be an 8. No way. So this is either a 1, 2 pair or a 3, 6 pair. Ah, now if that's right, I'm actually going to check this again because I'm not trusting what I did before because I don't understand why I didn't have 4, 8 on it. But look, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 6 quadruple now in row 7, which will make this a 5. Oh, and that's going to break the puzzle open because that's going to give me a 7 here and everything's going to colour. Right, let's just come back to this black dot. I'm just going to delete what I've got on it because I don't quite understand my pencil marks here. We've got 1, 2, that seems to be possible. You can't use 4, 8 or 2, 4, so it's only 1, 2 or 3, 6 that's possible. And if it's 3, 6, it has to be that way round. That's perfect. Okay, so this is a 1, 2, 3, 6 quadruple. That is a 5. That's a 7, that's a 7, that's a 5, that's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 2, that should be a 1, that's got to be a 6, this is a 3, this is a 1, 1, that's an 8 in order to make this arrow work, that's a 6 to make that arrow work, the middle box is done. The 3 here takes 3 off the black dot, so that is a 1, 2 pair. So that's got to be an 8 or a 9, and those have got to be 7, 8 or 9, because we've got all of the low digits now in row 7. Oh, what have we got? Oh, we've got 6s that we can take out of the top and bottom of column 5. Now, so we've sort of done, we've had a very good fondue meal, and now we've got to do something new. But I still haven't... Oh no, this is breaking the symmetry, isn't it? So I can't now rely on symmetrical logic. Probably we've got to have a look up here. But I'm not totally sure. Do I know what that is now? Yes, I do. There's a 5 here. Right, that's a 3. So these were different. 3, 4, 5. And that has broken the symmetry. Yeah, okay. Yes, that's quite interesting as well. Think about where 2 and 3 go in column 2, because they can't go there or there, look. So they've got to go right at the top and right at the bottom, which doesn't do anything. Bother. That was nearly a good spot. Right. What about this domino then? 5s, 6s, 7s and 8s. So that square can only be 5 or 7, I think, which means that must be even, and it's not 2 or 4, so that's 6 or 8. So this square has got to be 6, 7 or 9. And those squares have got to be 5, 7, 8 or 9. Oh, okay, right. Oh, right, no, this is nice. I've now got a quadruple in box 7 on 5, 7s, 8s and 9s. Well, that means two things. Firstly, this is a 1, 2, 3 triple. But much more interestingly, where is the 5 in that quadruple? It's in that domino. And therefore that 5 looks at that square, which becomes a 7, which doesn't resolve the 6 or the 8 above it. But it does mean that that's a 7, so we can get rid of loads of 7s in column 3. We can get rid of a 7 from here. Oh, this is right. Now that's beautiful, because now this combo here can't be an 8 and a 7 anymore. So we can get rid of the 8. So that's a 4-5 pair. This is a 7, and that's an 8 as a result. 7 by Sudoku goes here in box 2. 8 maybe? No, I don't think so. Bother. That's quite surprising. Okay, so where shall we look next? We shall have a look at I really want to resolve this digit, I have to tell you. 4, 5, 6, 9. That square is quite restricted actually, just by Sudoku. In fact, is it a naked single? It's got to be 4, 5, 6 or 9 according to the row, and it can't be 5, 6 or 9 by the column. Okay, that's a 4. A particularly useless 4. But that does. Oh no, it doesn't. I thought it was going to place a 4 in box 4 here. Oh, I must be able to eliminate something from there. 2. So this is a 4, 6 pair, which doesn't do anything. Okay, well let's carry on with row 3 then. We need 5s, 6s and 9s. So this is a 5 or a 6. That is a 6 or a 9. That is a 5 or a 9. That's the worst option, where you eliminate one from each of them, but it doesn't result in a pair for you. So, I can get rid of 9 from that square. Yeah, this column actually with the 2 and the 3 in it might be a good place to look. Where does 1 go in this column? That's a good idea. It's got to go there, I think, just by Sudoku of all things. I mean, it's outrageous when I have to do Sudoku in a Sudoku puzzle, but sometimes needs must. Now, this square's a 7 or an 8 now. Don't know which. At least I don't think I do. Can I do the 4, 5 here? No. Can I do anything? Probably not. Okay, let's look at column 7, where we need 6s, 7s, 8s and 9s. So, okay, 6, 7, 9. 7, 9. That one is a naked single. That's got to be an 8. Okay, so the bottom cell is a 6, 7 or a 9. It doesn't resolve. But this 8 rules an 8 out of that cell. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3. Oh, okay. You see, I shouldn't have given up on symmetry so quickly, because there's just an umbra. There's an umbra of symmetry still operating. I looked at this column with 1s, 2s and 3s. If I'd thought to look at this row for 1s, 2s and 3s, I do have something similar, look. Where do 1, 2 and 3 go in row 8? Well, they can't go there. They could go here, but the other 2 cells have got to go into those 2, and there's a 2, 3 pair here. So that's a 1. That puts 1 in the corner, which doesn't get a song. 2 or a 3 here. So this needs to be 4s, 6s and 9. Oh, that's a naked single now. That's got to be a 4. Oh, that's beautiful. So the 4 and 5 get resolved. Okay. This square's now a 6 or a 9, and the 6 is quite handy. So that's a 9, that's a 6, that's a 5, that's a 9. That's an 8, that's a 7, that's a 9, that's a 5, and that's an 8. Now it feels almost like it's too good to be true. I'm now worried I've just made a mistake with all of these extra digits the puzzle is being suddenly kind enough to give me. That 8 at the bottom of the grid resolves the dot at the top, which might be useful. What do we need? 2s, 3s and 8s. Well, that's got to be a 2 or a 3 then. And that's got to be an 8 in the corner. Not that, an 8 in the corner. Yeah, look, where does 4 go? Oh no, hang on. That's got to be a 2, 3, 1, 3. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. Oh, come on, 2, 4. What's this digit? 3. What are these two squares? One of them is a 1. That does look like it's working. That should be a 5. That's still working as well. That's a 9. That's not a 9. So where are we putting the 9 in this column? There. That's an 8 by the power of Sudoku. And these have got to be 6 and something. 6 and 7. I can do that as well. 6 and 7 go in the grid. 4 and 5 over here. So this should be 2 and 3. Yeah, hang on. 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7. 7, 5. Suddenly the grid's filled. Yay! We did it! That's really clever. That is a really clever puzzle with a memorable, an absolutely memorable bit of logic in it. This stuff here, with the fact that orange and purple had to add to 8, and the way that impacted on this digit, and therefore this digit, was just sublime. I mean, that is an absolute worldie from Florian. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm not sure how hard that puzzle is. Felt quite tricky, actually. It's a very interesting one because you can get off to a flyer with what's going on in the middle box, but I found it very hard to see quickly how to resolve this sort of syzygy of planets going around this dogleg here. And even once we'd done that, how it worked in terms of the other syzygy of planets in the bottom left was unclear. But gradually the mists did clear, and we understood the puzzle, and very fine it was too. Look forward to your comments. I do enjoy them, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.